morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Clap your hands, clap, clap, clap. Stomp your feet, stomp, stomp, stomp. Spin around, spin, spin, spin. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. 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 Wash your hands, wash, wash, wash. Shake your hands, shake, shake, shake. Brush your teeth, brush, brush, brush. All right. Good morning.
Good morning and happy Monday. At least it's a holiday, though. Most of you are off work today. And Brian Wallace, you're most likely out of school today, sir. So, congratulations. Happy MLK Day. To you guys out there. MLK from Georgia, from Atlanta. I think everybody knows that. Even when I was in school 100 years ago, they didn't teach a lot of black history, but they taught Martin Luther King. Anyway, good morning, and that is Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. Man, I sure do appreciate it. BVD will be joining us soon. I'm proud of BVD. I saw him in the comments section this morning. First of all, he didn't fire me for not showing up last Friday, which was amazing. And just for future reference, I did make a post, but not a lot of people check the community tab on Facebook. But if anything ever happens to this morning show on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, please check BVD's channel, because most likely if something happens and I'm not able to go live for the morning show, BVD will, and that's what happened on Friday. So BVD, thank you for saving the day on Friday, sir. For those of you who didn't read the post, Lou Jr. missed the bus on Monday, and I had to take him to school. So I was not able to do the morning show. Why did he miss the bus, you ask? That's a good question. I got up like I always do. Miss Lou leaves for work about between 6:30 and 6:45. So I got up about 6 like I always do. She left for work. I made myself a cup of coffee. I sat on the couch. I turned the news on. The next thing I remember, it was like 8 o'clock. And I woke up. I sat up on the couch, and I fell asleep on the couch. And, of course, Lou Jr. wasn't going to wake up on his own. So he missed the bus. I had to take him to school. But it was my fault, not Lou Jr.'s fault. So blame Uncle Lou. But I made it back. And BVD saved the day. Didn't fire me. And I saw him in the comment section this morning, so I'm sure he'll be calling in here in a minute. And he had said last night when I talked to him that he hadn't slept in like 2 days. and he wasn't. He was like, it might be the first morning show. I'm struggling tomorrow. Never mind the fact, like, why haven't you slept in 2 days, sir? I mean, I stay up too late, but I sleep though. But he assures me he's not on meth or whatever. So, that's good. But anyway, don't stay up for 2 days straight. Not a good look. There's some free advice there. Savage Dog, thank you for the super chat on this Monday morning, sir. He says, thoughts on the Dog's new OC and that. I am shocked. I'm not going to lie. Not that we hired somebody. I mean, the Todd Monk and the UGA thing had been in the works for a while. I'm surprised they actually made him offensive coordinator. I couldn't believe it. I thought he would just be brought in and given some sort of assistance role. I didn't think Kirby would have the stones to demote his buddy, his do boy, his coffee getter, James Coley, but he did. And shout out to Kirby for that, because that needed to happen. Some coaches in the not so distant past, that's a lesson that it has taken them a lot longer to learn and has cost them a lot of games and a lot of wasted seasons. I'm talking about Will Muschamp. But anyway, so I'm not surprised we brought him in. And the bigger deal to me than the fact that we specifically brought in Todd Monken is what I think can't be argued at this point is that Kirby has clearly seen the light in terms of offensive philosophy. And that was a statement I made shortly after the Sugar Bowl. It didn't have anything to do with the Sugar Bowl. I saw some things that were going on in recruiting. I saw some comments made by different people in different places, and I honestly believed that the light had gone on with Kirby and that he had come to the realization that he gave it a shot trying to win the old-fashioned way, you know, with what he knows, which is defense and, you know, a conservative offensive game plan with a quarterback who doesn't make any mistakes, but also does not make any big plays. And that's just not working in today's college football. And I said, I have a feeling he has realized it now. I think it's a combination of things. I think it's being as good as we've been the last couple of years, but coming up way too short in 18 and 19 and a little bit short in 17. I think it's what happened at LSU this year with the dramatic turnaround that they've had, because Georgia, the last 2 years especially, is eerily similar to LSU for like the last 6 or 7 years until this year. Right? I mean, LSU and Georgia both put a ton of players in the NFL. They both recruit in the top 5, top 10 every single year. They both have amazing defenses almost every single year. And they both had generally conservative offenses with quarterbacks who weren't all that good. Do I expect anything Georgia does, whether it's hiring Todd Monken or whatever else they do this offseason, to translate to the field in the same way that we saw it at LSU? No. LSU's offense this past year, we may die and not see another offense like that. I mean, that's just reality. I mean, look at the numbers Joe Burrow put up. He broke the single season touchdown record, all those kinds of things. So I'm not living in any type of illusion or delusion that just because Kirby wants to change philosophies and brings in Todd Monken and a transfer from Wake Forest that we're suddenly going to be scoring 50 points a game and whoever the quarterback is going to be putting up Joe Burrow numbers. No, I don't think that. I don't believe that. I don't think anyone next year in all of college football will put up Joe Burrow numbers. I think that was a sort of everything coming together at the right time for LSU. I don't think anybody, including LSU, is doing that in 2020. But like I said, it's a positive sign to me, and I think I get a little. I'll be honest with you. I hate admitting what irritates me, because then clearly that's all people want to do from that point on. But it does kind of irritate me. Anytime I say anything good, positive, whatever about Georgia, I get a million, homer comments. This guy's an idiot. Of course, he says that he's a Georgia fan. there ain't a person on the face of the earth who's harder on Georgia than me, period. And I don't blow smoke. If I thought this was a BS move or if I thought this was just window dressing, don't you think I would be the first one on here saying it? I truly believe that this is a meaningful change at Georgia. Now, what that translates to in terms of wins next year and how far we go, I don't know about that right now. Georgia has a harder schedule, in my opinion, next year than what they had this year, clearly with the game at Alabama. Florida is getting better. Tennessee is getting better, but still not there yet, I don't think. So, I'm not here to tell you, we hired Todd Monken, we're going 15-0. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I do think this is a positive step. I mean, I'm hard on Georgia when I think they deserve it. So I think this is a good move. I'll just be honest with you. And before Todd Monken was hired, we could run the same offense next year we ran in 2018 and 2019, exact same. Whoever the quarterback is would have more numbers than Fromm. Listen, I'm not a believer in Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm is not I don't think Jake Fromm was ever going to be the answer. I just don't. I don't care what. Put Jake Fromm on LSU's team this year with Joe Brady and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and all those wide receivers. He doesn't put up anywhere near the numbers that Joe Burrow does. And I get so irritated with people that say, it's got less to do with QB talent, more to do with scheme. I don't care what scheme you put Jake Fromm in. He's not escaping pressure in the pocket, period. And you can't even quantify or measure what that means over the course of a season. It's impossible. He doesn't have the arm that Joe Burrow has. He doesn't have the instincts that Joe Burrow has. He doesn't have the guts to make throws that Joe Burrow has. And he damn sure doesn't have the legs and the mobility that Joe Burrow has. So this idea that you put Fromm at LSU, he throws for 50 touchdowns, or you put Fromm at Ohio State, he throws and runs for a combined 45 touchdowns, is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. It's absolutely ridiculous. And, we'll talk more about the combine when that gets closer. If I was Fromm, I'm not going anywhere near the combine. Why? You tell me, what is it that anybody thinks Fromm does well that translates to the combine other than the Wonderlic test? Nothing. And he can take that from home. Jake Fromm ought not go anywhere near the how is he going to improve his stock by going to the combine? The 40-yard, when he runs a 5-second 40? No. When he's the worst quarterback at the entire combine in the shuttle drill, the cone drill? No, that's not going to help him. Does anyone here think he's going to blow people away in the bench press? No. The vertical jump? No. The long jump? No. Is he going to throw at the combine? Lord help him if he does. He'll have one of the worst arms of any quarterback at the combine. So I mean, just this idea that Jake Fromm is a plug-and-play thing where you put him in the right system and he'll throw for 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns is honestly ridiculous. Whoever Georgia's quarterback is next year will have more total yards next year than Fromm ever had in any of his 3 years at Georgia, period, which is 2,800. 2,800. Had some idiot Georgia fan yesterday, BVD. You're more of an NFL. Oh, good morning, by the way, BVD. You caught me in the middle of a rant.
Yeah, I see that.
So I had some you're more of an NFL guy than me. I had some idiot tell me yesterday, and don't you love it when this happens, but Chiefs, Titans. Titans get up. Titans were up in that game, 17-7 at one point, whatever it was early in the game. Idiot runs straight to the Georgia group on Facebook. Where's all these idiots that say you need a mobile QB to win? Ha, 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 Ryan Tannehill can't run from here to there. And they're beating the high-flying, amazing offense Chiefs. Well, no. It wasn't that game. It was the San Francisco game. They actually were talking about Garoppolo, not the Titans, Chiefs. We'll talk about that in a minute. They were talking about Garoppolo winning the NFC Championship and the fact that he's the least mobile quarterback in the NFL. which I don't know if that's necessarily true. Tom Brady still plays, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's clearly the most mobile quarterback in the NFL.
But this guy was making the point that Garoppolo is not mobile at all, but is headed to the Super Bowl. Well, Garoppolo had like 60 yards rushing this year. Now, I know what you're thinking, BVD. You're thinking, well, that's not very many. And I agree, that's not very many. And 60 yards rushing probably does make him one of the least mobile quarterbacks in the NFL. Anybody want to take a guess how many yards rushing Jake Fromm had in 3 years total?
Can I take a guess at that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go way out on a limb and say 60.
You're way too high.
Really?
He had negative yards rushing 2 of his 3 years.
Well, okay, so he wasn't very good at eluding the sack.
Right. So, anyway, that I done fell down that rabbit hole. Let me, man, y'all, I swear. The question wasn't even about, I was about to blame the comment section for getting me going on Fromm, but then I remembered the question that was asked of me had nothing to do with Fromm.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Waikiki, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, Lou, remember, even when you're wrong, you're still right. Thank you, Waikiki. I appreciate that. And remember, even when you spell you're wrong, well, no, you're still wrong.
Lou,
Yeah,
if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right.
I agree. And if, well, thank you for the super chat, Waikiki. I'm just messing with you. Darren McCardle, thank you for the super chat, sir. Who you think will win the Super Bowl? I got to go with the Chiefs, and I'm going to BVD is way more of an NFL guy than me, so we're going to get his thoughts on that.
Wait. You keep saying that, and I'm not real sure where you get this idea that I'm better at the NFL than anyone, but that's okay. Go ahead, continue with your thought.
You at least have an NFL team. I mean, I don't. I mean, you watch more NFL than I do, so.
Okay, fair enough.
But the thing is, I just like, if I do think I know something about the NFL, then I'm right and everyone else is wrong. But that's how I am about everything, though. This isn't breaking news, but there's very little that I actually know. Celine Driver, thank you for the super chat this morning, sir. Yes, we have missed you over the last week or so. He says, I'm back. Miss me. Very exciting week last week for my family and me, but back in here where I'm supposed to be. Looking forward to the off-season entertainment and that. Good morning. Glad you're here this morning, Celine Driver. All right, that gets us caught up on the super chats that we got at the beginning of the show. Good morning again, BVD. Sorry about that again. I don't know how I get going on these rants with Fromm. But anyway, how was your weekend, BVD?
Pretty good weekend, I suppose. Didn't sleep much this weekend, so I almost missed my first beginning of a Lou morning show this morning. I actually fell asleep last night around, I don't know, somewhere around midnight, and did not wake up until the alarm got me at 8 o'clock this morning. First time maybe in more than a decade that I've slept more than 8 hours straight.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was telling the people at the beginning of the show that you were on a 2-day bender. I don't know what you were bending on, but other than the fact that you did mention you hadn't slept in a couple of days last night on your show. So
I was all excited about getting a new drone that didn't happen. So I went from extreme happiness to right back into depression. So cheer me up this morning.
I'll try. Right when I tuned into your show last night, I heard you and Carter talking about drones, and I got I guess Carter is sort of, I don't know if he's a drone expert or whatever, but he's had some drones, which I didn't know.
Me neither.
I've been interested in that too. You watch a lot of YouTube like I do, and you watch a lot of non-sports related YouTube like I do, and I watch some of these vloggers and things, and they do a lot of cool stuff with drones.
Oh yeah.
And I was close to buying one this past holiday season, so just a couple of months ago, and Mrs. Lou and my dad talked me out of it. I don't know. I think they made a good point. it would be cool to have, but how often really would I, like for what I do, like if I got one, it would be just for fun. There would be no way for me really to incorporate it into the channel. And if I did, I would only be doing it to do it. It really wouldn't serve any. It would really only be doing it to say, look, I have a drone. Like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't really, it really wouldn't add anything. And y'all mentioned this last night, but to get a decent one, and that's the thing, if you're going to use it for YouTube, you can't just go out and buy a $50 drone because the footage is going to be shitty. I mean, those things are very expensive to get one with even an HD camera, never mind 4K. But, and for those of you that don't know a whole lot about cameras, drones have to have some crazy image stabilization built into them, as you might imagine, because they're floating around in the air. And unless you want, unless you want your head to be doing this as you're watching the footage. So anyway, the cameras that are inside of the drones tend to be pretty expensive, especially on the HD and the 4K ones. So it's very expensive. And I almost, I should have called in and talked to Carter last night instead of you, but down here you have to have a license to fly those things.
You have to have a license everywhere for certain drones, and I'm certainly no drone expert, but most of the, I don't know what you would call people like me and you, if we owned a drone, we're safe. And I will say this, I did learn this yesterday. If you're thinking about getting a drone, don't even waste your money on one of the $100 drones at Walmart. I watched some of the footage on those yesterday, and there's a reason they're only $100.
Right.
The drones aren't terribly expensive anymore, but if you want one that's halfway decent enough to put even a halfway decent YouTube video up, you're going to be spending at least a couple $100.
Yeah. Lou Jr. has gotten, I think, 2 over the years, but they've been the ones you're talking about. I didn't buy them for him, so I don't even know where they came from, but they were clearly, not expensive drones. And I think one of them does have a 720p camera on it, and even that is hard to watch, and the footage is shaky. But besides that,
so in other words, he's got the standard BVD live stream camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
But besides the camera quality, they're impossible to fly. And I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on them too. Some of the more expensive ones will basically fly themselves. I mean, you can put in GPS coordinates and how high you want it to go and blah, 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 and you don't even really have to do anything except control the camera.
What I learned
these cheap ones are impossible to fly. The ones he has are anyway.
What I learned in the couple of hours I spent with my friend yesterday on this drone is the hardest thing about the drone is getting all the batteries and all that garbage connected and charged up, and then getting it ready to fly, setting all these coordinates, getting it lined up for this and balanced for that, and coordinated with this. And I'm like, damn, can't you just turn it on and fly? I mean, I'm in trouble. So it's probably a good thing that I didn't get that one yesterday, because I've had one in the past. I had one about 5 years ago, and I got exactly 5 minutes flight time out of it before I crashed it into the woods and never found it. So,
well, 5 minutes, you wouldn't have had much longer anyway. You talked about how long
right.
you have to set those things up. I mean, you spend 20 or 30 minutes getting ready to fly the thing, and the battery lasts like 8 minutes.
They're pretty good now. You can get them 16, 20. Like my buddy got it. His wife bought him a new one for Christmas. Yeah. He's got 23 minutes flight time, which is amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, drones.
I
still haven't completely crossed it off my maybe one day list, but it definitely won't be. This year. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind next holiday season. There's debates anymore. Is it even worth waiting until like Black Friday or holiday sales? I still think certain things are, and like electronics still tend to go on sale that time of year or whatever. So I don't know. We'll see. But as of right now, I think it would just be an ungodly waste of money for me. Did you watch the conference championship games yesterday?
I sort of did. I was all settled in and ready to watch them, and then I got the phone call from my daughter. Um,
Uh,
and it ended up being one of those nights where I spent a couple hours going and bailing my daughter out of a emergency and taking her to her mom's and
mm,
consoling her about her idiot mother. So I didn't say that. That slipped out. I didn't mean to say mother.
right.
So yeah, I did. I watched more of the Titans game than the Niners game, which was an upsetting occurrence for me. By the way, I can't stand the Niners. I hope the Chiefs beat them by 100.
Yeah.
But there's your answer. I watched part of the Chiefs game, and uh,
It's
there'll
kind of
be
the.
enough highlights on for the next week or two that
Oh yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it was kind of the opposite for me. I watched most of the Chiefs Titans game and very little of the. In fact, I don't think I watched any of the. I watched a little bit of it on my phone. Me and Mrs. Lou were watching a Netflix thing yesterday afternoon, and I convinced her to wait till 6 o'clock because I wanted to watch that Chiefs game. But
Right.
I wasn't going to push my luck and ask her to wait till 9 o'clock. So I did the thing where I lay on the couch and, look, I'm spending time with you watching your show on Netflix while I had the Packers 49ers game playing on my cell phone.
Right. Well, you don't want to anger Mrs. Lou.
No, no, no. What's that? Is it who is it? Is it the Incredible Hulk that says you wouldn't like me when I was angry?
Yeah, don't make me angry. You
Yeah,
wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
yeah. Mrs. Lou smash.
I haven't had the privilege of meeting the rest of the Lou family yet, but I'm gonna make that happen someday.
Yeah, we got to do that. So Chiefs versus 49ers, and I did see this morning that the Chiefs are a slight favorite in that game. Does that surprise you, BVD?
No, not really. Not really.
Yeah, me either.
They,
They are fun to watch. A lot of college fans like me. One of the reasons I think I don't get as into the NFL is it does seem a little more boring in the NFL offensively to me. For whatever reason, I don't know, but that's not the case when you watch the Chiefs. I mean, how many players do the Chiefs have under 6 feet tall? A lot. A lot.
a lot of people may not realize this, but the best player on the Chiefs is not Mahomes. It's the punter, Colquitt. But that's
Punter
different story
you.
for. That's right.
Punter you. But,
That's right. You are aware, I presume.
yeah. Punter you?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, clearly. Yes.
Okay.
Obviously. I remember when y'all used to pretend to be wide receiver you, but then you remembered you don't have a single wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good time
Yeah.
for wide receivers.
Right. But I'm sure Juwan Jennings will be a perennial Pro Bowler.
Oh, I mean, I think they're already dusting a spot off on the shelf for his Hall of Fame bust.
Yeah, fitting him for a jacket next week, I'm sure too. What? I missed something here. Chess Hall, good morning, sir.
Yes.
Wow, thank you. Appreciate that. He says, good morning, sir. You're still my favorite YouTuber. Well, thank you, Chess Hall. Good to see you back in the chat section, sir. I hope you're enjoying your holiday weekend, and thank you very, very much for that super chat. Celine Driver, thank you, sir. He hates the NFL, by the way, BD. He calls it the No Fun League, but he says, I think the No Fun League will bring in poop for the Niners sideline so they feel at home in Miami.
I thought the NBA was the no fun league,
I don't know. I think,
but I get where he's going with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Chiefs versus 49ers. Patrick Mahomes versus now this is strange. This is weird. Let me give credit to that human potato that I was talking about earlier in the Georgia comment section that said, ha ha ha, Garoppolo isn't mobile, but he's still made the Super Bowl. Did they really win the NFC Championship game completing 7 passes?
That's a stat that I was not aware of.
I haven't looked it up. I saw that online last night. Let me look. I'm gonna look that up now.
They won the NFC Championship with, from what I saw, Aaron Rodgers not playing up to Aaron Rodgers' capability. I think he had 3 turnovers himself yesterday, I think.
I clicked on the wrong
Which
game.
the Packers have been terrible in the last 2 or 3 NFC Championship games they've been in.
Sir, Jimmy Garoppolo was 6 of 8.
Wow.
For 77 yards.
What about rushing? What kind of rushing yardage did they have?
Raheem Mostert, 220 yards.
Jeez, I would not in an argument, but I was in a discussion with someone, I think Friday, over whether or not the Niners were a good rushing team or not. And I was like, "You're crazy, man! That the Niners aren't a good rushing team." So there shows my NFL knowledge right out of the gate.
Shout out to Deebo Samuel of South Carolina fame. Two carries for 43 yards. He was also their leading receiver, which isn't hard to do when you have six completions on the day. But he was also their leading receiver. 2 catches for 46 yards, 2 rushes for 43 yards. So clearly a career day for the boom chicken there, Deebo Samuel.
Wonder if he rode his bicycle to the game or not.
I certainly hope so.
Excuse me.
Enrique Robles, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, I have a friend that says Aaron Rodgers lost yesterday because of the grass. Also, Southern Cal is wide receiver U. Southern Cal does get amazing wide receivers.
Everyone in your family is different.
Now this makes me mad about ESPN, ESPN.com. Yeah, I'm going to turn you off now because that just made me mad. I don't mind websites having advertising. Clearly, they have to make money, same as anybody else. But video advertisements should not automatically play on ESPN.com with volume. Like, the volume should at least be muted. Okay, that's it. And From's not mobile, so. But that's
yeah.
it.
Well, I have mixed emotions on the advertisements that play on YouTube. That is where we get most of our money from, Lou.
YouTube is a video site, though. If you go to YouTube, you're prepared to hear volume. Maybe it's from an ad, and that's irritating because it's an ad. But still, you're going to YouTube to watch a video. There's no other reason to go to YouTube. I don't go to ESPN to watch a video. I go to ESPN to read the news, and that's what I was doing just now to look up Garoppolo's stats. So I went to ESPN. I clicked NFL. I clicked scores. I found that game. I clicked box score. I read, 6 of 8. Jesus, 70 yards. Whatever I said. And then I went back to the YouTube tab where the comments section is. And then an ad started playing on ESPN with audio. That's irritating to me.
Yeah, well, advertisement is what makes the world go round, Lou. Where would we be without it?
Right. But like I said, I don't like. Right when you go to ESPN, at the very top of the page, it says from executive producer Brian Grazer and Ron Howard, 68 Whiskey, new Wednesdays, 10/9 Central on the Paramount Network. That's great. That's an ad. I don't mind that. I'm on ESPN. I expect to read things here. So I don't mind an ad here at the very top of the page of ESPN.com that I have to read. What I do mind is audio playing on a video ad somewhere on here that then covers up half the article you're trying to read. That's what I mind, though. So, hey, Travis Etienne is coming back to Clemson. Why?
That's nice.
Why?
Yeah, that's a good question. What's he must still have something to prove. I guess we just don't know what it is yet.
He couldn't have got a bad grade, do you think? I can't imagine. He's a first-round running back. I mean, he's the first 2 or 3 off the board, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think of is maybe they're a little bit concerned about his lack of speed.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with that, Lou.
I think it's just one of those.
Maybe he just wants to come back and enjoy college.
Yeah, I mean, Clemson did this same sort of thing with those defensive linemen a couple of years ago that would have clearly been first, maybe second round picks, but they would have been starting in the NFL, and they all came back. It's just weird for me to see it with running backs. And I said the same thing when Michelle and Chubb decided to come back for 17, which obviously ended up being great for Georgia. But I was like, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, running backs have one of the shortest shelf lives of any position in the NFL. I mean, you're lucky if you get 3 or 4 good years in the NFL as a running back anymore. So I'm just surprised that anybody with a first, second, or third round grade really would choose to come back for their senior year. But I would have to imagine. I mean, if you're an NFL team and you needed a running back, if Etienne's not first on your list, I can't imagine him being lower than third. I mean, Swift, Etienne, Jonathan Taylor. But again, if I'm the NFL, Jonathan Taylor's probably third on my list out of those 3 just because he has the most miles on his tires.
Yeah, but he's that atypical Wisconsin running back that, that for some reason you don't hear a whole lot about him, but they continue to just rack up the yardage and win rushing titles in the Big Ten and go on to stellar NFL careers, i.e. the one guy that I can't think of his name right now.
Ron Dane?
Yeah, Ron Dane.
Yeah, that kind of proves my point, and I know you're being sarcastic when you say great NFL careers because, like you said, they've got amazing running backs every single year to get drafted in the NFL, and you never hear from them again.
What's the kid's name
now,
at
Melvin
Oklahoma
Gordon,
State?
Melvin Gordon has probably been the only Wisconsin running back I can think of that's had even moderate success in the NFL over the last 10 years or so. He played for Wisconsin, didn't he? I think he did.
Melvin Gordon. I believe so.
I think he did. Like I said, I'm an NFL guy. So.
Yeah, you do a really good job, too, at hiding that from everyone with this facade that you put up with your college football knowledge.
Waikiki says Clemson is wide receiver U right now, and it's not close. Let's see. Who do they have in the NFL? They have DeAndre Hopkins and Sammy Watkins. And that's it.
And I'm sure there's probably somebody.
Alabama has Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. They're about to have Jerry Jeudy. If Jerry Jeudy ends up being what people think he will, I would put Alabama ahead of Clemson in the wide receiver U title. So I definitely disagree that Clemson is wide receiver U and it's not close. The wide receiver U thing doesn't really have anything to do with what they do in college, right? When people have that argument, it's always in reference to the NFL, right, BVD? Isn't it?
That's my that's my understanding.
Yeah. And even if you want to just look at college, it's still Alabama. Clemson didn't have 3 wide receivers as good as Alabama's top 3.
Yeah. Amari Rodgers, there's a guy, I don't know what kind of career he's had at Clemson as a wide receiver, but he's going to be, in my opinion, a kick returner in the NFL. That's what he does well at Clemson, too.
Yeah. Well, he's sort of their third option this year, too, and coming off of an injury. So they're losing, of course, T. Higgins. But I think Justin Ross was a sophomore this year, so he'll be back next year. But I haven't even looked in the comments yet, but I'm sure there's a Clemson fan complaining that I'm hating on Clemson. I'm not hating. Clemson's got amazing wide receivers. I've said it a million times, but
what's the
I don't think they have
there's another receiver right there, Lou, the white kid that came from Clemson.
Oh, Hunter Renfrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunter Renfrow.
For the Raiders.
Yeah.
Can't forget him.
He actually plays in the NFL? Stop.
No, seriously, he's like he is a very important cog on that Gruden offensive machine out there in Las Vegas for the Raiders.
If you don't stop right now, what did he do this year?
Look his stats up because I'm actually kind of curious now. But in the
Jesus
hard,
Christ, you're right.
yeah,
I mean, it's not blowing you away, but he had 49 catches.
yeah. Do you watch Hard Knocks, by the way?
No, never. I've seen several episodes of most seasons, but I've never seen an entire season of any of the years.
Actually, you might want to consider that this coming up season. It's really, really informative.
What channel does that even come on anymore?
I think HBO still.
Okay. I thought I had moved to Showtime or something at one point.
It may have.
Yeah.
I don't pay no attention to what channel these things come on.
I think I have Showtime. I know I have HBO through Amazon Prime, not through.
Now those things are all changing now anyway.
Yeah, everything's on demand.
The movie
now.
channels.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I would love to see one. Are the Raiders aren't in Vegas now? Are they? It's next year, isn't it?
Yeah, next year.
Okay. Is that where Hard Knocks will be? Because I would love to see a behind-the-scenes thing on a bunch of 20-year-old millionaires living in Las Vegas.
Yeah, no, that was last season.
BVD, this is a terrible idea, isn't it? Something's going to go wrong in it. This Raiders to Las Vegas thing.
Most likely, someone's going to get arrested. Someone's going to go broke, and I don't know, man. I'm not a Raiders fan, but I've always had an interest in the Raiders because of a good friend of mine. There's so many other teams in the NFL that would have been maybe a better fit in Las Vegas, but for some reason I'm thinking the Raiders might just be the perfect team to be in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, they've always had like that bad boy image or whatever.
They're kind of like the Miami, the U of the NFL. You know, their reputation was built on that bad boy image decades ago, and they're striving to get back to both the bad boy image and winning. Yeah. And they're struggling at both.
I love how Raiders fans for years and years, I mean 15, 20 years, have blamed the NFL like for everything that, you know, the NFL is out to get us as a league. They just don't like us. Everything has been the NFL's fault. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're like the worst drafting team in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, they're a close second to my Cardinals for the NFL's worst drafting team.
I guess you could put the Cleveland Browns in there too, but like those three teams there. But you know, it's just funny to me, like, and you see this in college sometimes too. Maybe they blame the refs for something. You know, it's like, never mind the fact you had 9 turnovers or something. But yeah, the ref missed a holding call in the second quarter or whatever. But
yeah, you know how critical those are too. The missed holding calls early in the game.
Enrique, thank you for the super chat. He says, Lou, did you get to watch Bad Boys 3 this weekend? No, I did not. I'm a little disappointed. One of the problems I'm running into with Bad Boys 3 is my son has no interest in that movie. He doesn't even know what it is. I mean, obviously the first 2 came out way before he was even born. He does know who Will Smith is, but he doesn't. I mean, Martin Lawrence could be standing next to him in line at Walmart. He wouldn't know who it was. Like, you know, what was the last thing Martin Lawrence even did? Bad Boys 2?
I was going to say Martin Lawrence could probably be standing next to you or I at Walmart, and we might not know who he is.
Well, you'd have to look. You'd be looking down on him, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But so I want to see it, but usually when I go to the movies, there's 2 sets of movies I usually go to. Avengers type movies, kids movie, whatever that Lou Jr. wants to see, and then something I go to with Mrs. Lou. And
that's exactly what I was sitting here thinking.
And I'm not sure she has much interest in Bad Boys either. And I'm not saying it's beneath me because I would do it, but I am hesitant to be that old man by himself in the movie theater. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with going to the movies by yourself, but it is kind of, there's like a stigma attached to it, I think. Like, look at this guy. I don't know, like, it just seems creepy for some reason to me to see somebody at the movies by themselves. I don't know. But now I'm considering being that guy because I really want to see that movie, even if I have to go see it by myself.
You know what? I don't think I ever saw the second one.
Yeah.
I know I saw the first one way back in the day, but
I had some people tell me this weekend, or I read on Facebook or somewhere, that people like this one better than the first two. But you know, how much of that is because it's just been so long and people are just dying. People have been wanting to see this movie, you know, forever.
I wonder if it's a movie that you can go watch without having seen the first two and be just fine.
You know, I bet it is, because the movie studio would be, you're cutting off a lot of your potential audience if you sort of make it a true part 3 and tie it in any way to the first two. But I'm sure there's like maybe it's the thing where the storyline is completely unrelated, but there's like some references thrown in there that like call back to Bad Boys 1 or 2. And so if you've seen the first two, like, you'll get those references. But if you haven't seen the first two, like, you can still watch the movie and understand it.
Right.
And all that, I don't know. I am going to see it one way or the other. I just haven't figured out yet exactly
Speaking
how.
of Bad Boys, did you ever see the Bad Boys movie? I think it was from the 80s with Sean Penn in it, where he goes to this youth prison. If you've never seen that movie, it's a really good movie. And I always, when I see Bad Boys on like the channel lineup, I get excited because I think it's that movie, and then I'll go click on the information, and it's the Will Smith, Martin Lawrence Bad Boys.
But
That's
the name of the one you're talking about is also
Bad
called
Boys.
Called Bad
Yep.
Boys? Okay. No, I don't.
It's the original Bad Boys, actually.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yep.
Sean Penn in a youth prison. He's a prisoner?
Yep. Yeah, he's a prisoner.
Yeah. No, I don't think
Really
I've seen
good movie.
that.
Ali Sheedy's in it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Have to check that out too. I don't know. Let's see. No, Blockbuster is definitely closed.
Justin Wolf in the comments, BBD is like a grown-up squid tart. I don't know whether that's a compliment or a knock. I'm just gonna assume, for the sake of my ego, that that's a compliment.
Yeah, that's a loaded comment there.
That can go either way, can it?
You can sort of take that any way you choose to. Chess Hall, thank you, sir. He says, what's your thoughts on the XFL? We did almost, well, not the whole show, but we talked about that for about 30 or 45 minutes. Was that last week, BVD, or the week before?
Yeah, first week.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm going to give it a shot. I think BVD said the same thing. I mean, we gave the AFL a shot. I mean, I made a hype and hate video for the damn Atlanta Legends. I've ordered hats and shirts, and, you know, basically by the time they arrived, the league was shut down. They never even finished the first season, you know. The football wasn't great, you know. It was sloppy, but it was what you would expect, really, you know.
It was better, I thought, than the first XFL.
I agree with that. I agree.
What was the other one? The USFL.
Yeah.
USFL.
I agree with you there. So I'm going to give the XFL a shot. I mean, I've already picked my team. You know, I'm Team Tampa over here. The Tampa Vipers. They have Aaron Murray. So I mean, I'm going to give it a shot. You know, I'll talk about it here on the channel when the time comes, which is only a couple of weeks from now too. I'll probably make some videos on it. I might do some live streams during that first weekend of games. So I mean, I'm going to give it a shot. I mean, I'm a football fan. I don't have high expectations for the XFL, so if it's anything even close to watchable, I'll be happy to have some football to watch in February and March.
Wonder if Ed McMahon, and I know it's Vince McMahon. Wonder if Ed McMahon is going to be out on the field for some of these games like he was in the first go around.
Is he? Is this still a WWE thing?
I don't know if it's a WWE thing, but it is most certainly a Vince McMahon thing. I think he is the.
I hope he's
I don't know if he is the sole funder of it, but he is definitely the one behind it.
I hope he doesn't try to make it all about him, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, this is Vince McMahon you're talking about, and I hate wrestling. To me, that's, I won't. I'm not going to knock it too bad because I know probably a good portion of your viewing audience and probably mine too are wrestling gurus, but because we do live in the South.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's face it. WWE wrestling is second to college football with Southern sports fans per se, even though it's not even a sport.
We'll get into some wrestling.
You're
one of these shows. I mean,
you're a wrestler, aren't you?
I was into it big time, obviously, when I was a kid, and then, but then I got into it real big again, like late in high school and my first couple of college years, and that was during the whole Stone Cold and The Rock, and like to me, that's probably the best wrestling has ever been. I haven't. Oh, and then I got into it a third time too, maybe 7 or so years. Lou Jr. got into it when he was about 5 or 6, and so I got back into it then too. Took him to a couple of shows. Started recording Monday Night Raw because he couldn't watch it. It was on too late for him then at that age. So we would record Monday Night Raw and like watch it the next afternoon when he got home from school or whatever. So I got into it a third time. And of the three times I've gotten into wrestling, a child, and then sort of the late 90s, early 2000s, the whole Stone Cold, the bad boy era thing, Attitude
What
era.
was the wrestler's name from Georgia? Goldberg.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the third time I got into it, the third time when I was watching it with Lou Jr. was by far the worst I mean, it was. They had lost. I thought what they had going in the late 90s and early 2000s was great. They had some big personalities in there who really knew what they were doing. Stone Cold, The Rock, people like that. And I don't know. When I got into it this last time with Lou Jr., it was, Triple H was everywhere. And I've just never liked him. And, about the most exciting thing they had going was Dean Ambrose. I don't know. We don't need to get into that, but.
Speaking of wrestling, real quick, Lou, did you watch nobody really got to watch it, the Conor McGregor Cowboy thrilling, complete decision-making debacle that was the UFC this weekend?
Yeah, I did get to watch it, and if any of you people are following Uncle Lou's community tab on YouTube, you got to watch it too, so you're welcome. But yes, I did watch it. I posted a link to a free. I posted a link to the fight, and but by the time you clicked on it, the fight was over. But yeah. But yeah, I watched it.
I got to watch Conor leaving the ring by the time I got it tuned in.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I feel like and I didn't spend a lot of time yesterday reading up on it or looking at what people were saying about it, but I feel like after the fight, a lot of the stuff I feel Conor McGregor kind of got shortchanged with what, like I heard a lot of people saying, all he did was beat the guy with his shoulder. That's not all he did. I mean, the guy was leaking pretty much from his entire face. I mean, he kicked him in the head. He punched him. I don't know how many times he punched him.
Yeah, I don't know. They obviously missed that kick.
Yeah. I mean, there was a little bit of time there when they were sort of tied up, and Conor McGregor kept – and that was kind of funny to see. Conor McGregor kept basically jabbing him with his shoulder.
Yeah.
But there was a lot more to it than that. And I'm not a UFC expert or whatever. But for me to get into any fight, whether it's UFC, boxing, whatever, there has to be some personality involved that's bigger than
bigger than the sport.
Yeah, I can count probably on one hand the number of times I've been interested in UFC. Conor McGregor, when Ronda Rousey was 3-0 and then 4-0 and then 5-0 and then 6-0 before she finally got her head bashed in by Holly Holm, and that ruined her.
Yeah.
So I got into it during the whole Ronda Rousey thing. Oh shoot, what was the
Are you trying to think of one of the females? Because
No.
I was gonna ask you the best fight of the night, speaking of leaking, was the two gals that just, I mean, by the end of the fight, they were basically wallowing around in a pool of blood.
No, the only fight I watched was the last one.
You missed it, man. That was a great fight.
Because, like I said, I don't get into it. But when a fight is so big that everybody is talking about it, then that's when I, and I do like Conor McGregor, and it's got nothing to do with his fighting. I couldn't tell you what style he is, or I couldn't handicap a Conor McGregor fight or break it down, or it's nothing to do with that. It's got everything to do with his promotional skills and ability and how he talks and the way he works the microphone and all that. It's just entertaining to me. So
he's got that game down.
Yeah. So I followed him. I got into it with the Ronda Rousey. Anderson Silva was another guy. I got into it for about a year when Anderson Silva was at the top of his. Anderson Silva, man, he was like watching Muhammad Ali in his prime. I mean, he would just clown people. I mean, he would never even put his hands up. His hands would just be at his side, and he would just, and then he would kick you in the back of the head, and it'd be over. I mean, it was unbelievable. Then he broke his leg, though, and then he was never the same. But and then there's a guy from here that made it big time in
boxing...
UFC, and I followed him, Forrest Griffin. If any of you guys watched UFC like 15 years ago, Forrest Griffin, he actually had a title fight against Anderson Silva and got absolutely humiliated, but he's from here, that Forrest Griffin, so everybody here was talking about that at the time.
You think boxing's done?
I see people who still watch boxing. I see them talking about the same couple of people all the time now. I couldn't even tell you who they are now, but I haven't watched. The last boxing match I watched, I think you watched it with me, was Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, I can't think of one single heavyweight boxer now. And back in the day, when we were kind of coming up, even though there's about 10 years between us, heavyweight boxing was not the sport, but of all the fighting, heavyweight boxing was the shiz. But I don't even know who is considered the top boxer right now.
Yeah, I spent a lot of money on Mike Tyson pay-per-views in the 90s. I can tell you that.
Oh, man. Buster Douglas, still, in my opinion, the biggest upset in the history of sports.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And you really have to have been around then. Like, you can't just go, like, it would be easy to just go back and look at the odds now and say, oh, yeah, that was a big upset.
Nah, you can't understand it unless you were there.
Mike Tyson was, I mean, what he was doing was unbelievable.
Oh, he was literally, in my opinion, considered unbeatable.
Yeah.
I mean,
he won a lot of those fights before they ever started. I know boxers are tough, and a lot of them would never admit. You were scared when you got in the ring with him. I don't believe anybody that tells me they weren't. I mean, he was an animal. Unbelievable.
Well, I'm sure all of your friends were like me and all of my friends back in there. I'd get in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
I'd get in there with him. Yeah. It'd probably
right.
be your last one.
Yeah.
But
immediate CTE. Do not wait 10 years. It's just immediate CTE if you get hit by Mike Tyson. He was just an absolute beast.
And the best fight of Mike Tyson's career wasn't anything in the ring. It was his fight with his wife. I can't remember her name either.
Wasn't it like she was a model or an actress?
Yeah, she was in one of those popular TV shows back then.
like Vanessa Williams or something, or
No, but you're on the right track.
something like that. Slim Shady says, how long till a Raiders player pulls a Pete Rose? Probably not very long.
That could have
Probably.
several different meanings.
Probably not very long. Slim says Pride FC was better than UFC. I know what Pride FC is, in that I've heard that before. I don't know that I've ever seen a Pride FC fight.
Yeah, Robin Gibbons.
But I would have to say, Slim, that opinion that you have has to be in the minority, because UFC is probably, in terms of popularity, you can't measure how much more popular the UFC is than Pride FC. So I would have to assume that, although you say Pride FC better than UFC, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you occupy the opinion of the minority in that regard. Enrique, thank you for the super chat. Canelo Alvarez is the best pound for pound right now. That's one of the names I hear all the time. Canelo Alvarez. What's the guy that's, they call him just one GGG or something? I hear that a lot. I don't know what that is, but I hear that
I have
a lot.
no idea.
GG or GGG or something. I don't know. Maybe I think he's like Russian or something, and no one can say his name, so they call him GGG or something. But I don't follow boxing at all. And to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that boxing is still around and not outlawed. Just sort of the way, as a society and as a culture, the way that we view head injuries now.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, they are look at football just as an example. They are doing, I mean, you almost can't make eye contact with another player anymore in football. Like, the head is just completely off limits. And in boxing, like, the head is the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, so I
tell you,
I'm surprised.
What I'm even more baffled about right now in basketball, I think it's the same in football, baseball. If you come up with so much as a speck of blood on your body, they're stopping the match, they're stopping the game and taking you out.
Yeah.
So how does the UFC get away with like what they had this weekend, where there was literally pints of blood on the mat and all over these fighters? How do they get away with that?
I'm assuming that boxers and fighters are under as strict or maybe even stricter testing guidelines as porn stars and prostitutes are. Like, I'm assuming they have to get tested as part of. I don't know the details, but leading up to a fight, they test for banned substances and all this kind of thing. I would be shocked if included in that there's not, like, obviously an HIV test, but even besides that, hepatitis or whatever else, any bloodborne diseases like that. I would assume that they're
have to be
tested on a very high level.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I mean, the referee wears gloves, but, like, unless those fighters are tested, you getting in there and refereeing one of those, I mean, I don't know. So.
Well, I mean, if you watched, and you said you didn't, but anybody that saw that fight between these two girls this weekend, they had blood, I mean, literally all over their body. So, the one gal was getting blood in her mouth off of the other gal. So, I mean, I don't know, man. That's the bloodiest fight I've ever seen.
Zimmer says they are tested for all bloodborne pathogens. So that makes sense to me, especially in today's. I mean, I remember. Man, this is really going back. Do you remember when BVD, when Magic Johnson announced he had HIV?
Oh, yeah, that was one of the things to me that you remember where you were at and what you were doing when you first heard that news.
I think 25 years old or younger, I think you would be blown away at how big of a deal it was. Like, maybe like science and medicine may have known a lot about HIV and AIDS back then, but as a society, we were pretty ignorant. Like, people sort of joke about it now, but like people just didn't know. Like, people, like, there's a joke now, oh, if you sit on a toilet seat, you can get AIDS, and we know that's not true now, but like, it took a lot of guts for Magic Johnson to come out and do that, because there were people, like, we didn't know back then. Like, it was still like a...
You hardly even hear about it now.
I know, and back then it was like, if somebody has HIV or AIDS, like, you might as well start digging the hole. Like, that was the mindset that people had back then. Like, oh, this way he's as good as dead. I mean, you're better off cancer. With 8 different kinds of cancer. Yeah. And just sort of and cancer is not communicable, so even that doesn't fully explain like the level of like fear and paranoia that we had as a society around HIV and AIDS. But anyway, what got me thinking about that is you're talking about bleeding, and it used to be in basketball, if you got cut, you had to come out of the game, and that was because that was the Magic Johnson rule, kind of. Because there were NBA players who came out publicly. I'm not playing against him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it was, it was a big deal, There were players that said, I won't play with him or against him. I'm not taking that chance, Yeah, that was probably one of the biggest sports stories of my lifetime, is the Magic Johnson AIDS story.
Yeah, it was definitely.
Muhammad Ali was before my time, so all the stuff with him and going to prison and the draft and converting to Islam and all that kind of stuff was before my time. But like the just huge sports stories like that, Magic Johnson is close to the top in my lifetime for sure. But I mean, you can't overestimate how big of a story. How big of a story that was. And then, of course, you got all the conspiracy theories that came after that. Like, yep, I knew it. There's a cure, but it's only for rich people, It's like 20 years later, he looks more healthy than he did, when he announced that he had AIDS.
Yeah, he should have been dead a long time ago based on our thoughts and beliefs back then.
Yeah. Let's see. Shane Bentley, thank you for the super chat, sir. You're good people, Shane. He says, good morning, Lou and BVD. I've got a family member that calls me Sugar Shane from the boxer Sugar Shane Mosley. That's all I know about the guy. Either way, go Dogs. I don't know much about Sugar Shane Mosley, but I do know that name. And Sugar is a very popular name in boxing lore, right? Sugar Ray Reynolds, Sugar Shane Mosley.
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah. There's probably others.
Sugar Ray from Harlem Nights.
Yes. Yeah, speaking of Harlem Nights, I can't wait for Coming to America Part 2.
Oh, I had no idea.
Well, that's why you listen to Uncle Lou every day like you're supposed
to on
DVD.
Is Arsenio Hall going to be in it? That's the biggest question right there.
Obviously, he is.
He's got to be.
I'm an encyclopedia of useless information. George on my mind, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, hey, Lou, go check out Deontay Wilder's highlights. Deontay Wilder's another name I hear. Deontay Wilder, so Canelo Alvarez, like you mentioned, and still no one told me who the GGG guy is, but I know there's some boxer GGG. I hear that. Anytime I hear more than 5 minutes about boxing, I hear something about this GGG person. I just have no clue who it is.
That's Jarrett Garantano.
Yes. Bunch of G's there in that name. Enrique Robles, thank you for the super chat, sir. Random question. Thoughts on frats and sororities? I don't have any problem with frats and sororities. I think like everything else in our society, there are things they used to do that maybe were okay or overlooked that now aren't. You know, hazing, maybe some sexual stuff, you know, with the way harassment is nowadays and stuff like that. But I don't think, like, I don't have a problem in general with the idea of frats and sororities. I don't see a problem. I don't see a problem with it. I think it's like anything else. They've had to change and evolve over time. Maybe they've been a little slower to do it, but you got to remember, frats and sororities are filled with what? 18 to 21-year-old kids. So, you know, they might not be as woke as
frats have given us a lot of important inventions in our time. Social media came from some fraternity guys, not social media, but you know, some of the bigger platforms were born in fraternities.
Beer funnels were invented by fraternities.
And you know what? Every Georgia and Tennessee fan probably on the planet can thank butt chugging to fraternity.
Yes.
Who was that guy? You know, who was the first person that decided? And I'm not even going to go any farther with that. But who was that guy?
That's a great question, BVD. I have thought a lot of times, and I might end up doing it finally, of doing a video or even a series of videos basically called "Who was the first guy to," and my main like jumping off point from that idea is eat an oyster.
Nah, I'm good.
Who was the first human being that was so hungry they looked at an oyster and said, "Fuck it." I love oysters. But I saw a bunch of other people eating them, you know, and try it with a cracker or this, blah, blah, blah. I want to know who the first person was that walked up on a rocky beach or whatever, stuck their hand down in the mud, pulled out basically a seashell, cracked it open with a sharpened stick or whatever they used, saw a big pile of snot on the inside and said, "I wonder what that tastes like."
I can proudly say
I wouldn't have been the first one.
I can proudly say that I have not gone down that rabbit hole.
You don't eat oysters?
No.
Oh man, they're so good. I only like them raw too. But I have to eat them. It sounds, I eat oysters. I put it on a saltine cracker and then I smother it in like Texas Pete or Tabasco sauce. So some people who eat oysters will tell you, "Oh, that's not eating an oyster. It's not really eating it unless you just suck it right out of the shell with nothing else." I don't do that. That it doesn't taste anything like snot or whatever, but it does have the exact same consistency in your mouth, like the way it feels, the texture and all that. So I don't do. I put it on a cracker with some hot sauce, and that's how I eat it. But I don't eat them just by themselves. But I know a lot of people do.
What is the point? Like, I mean, they must taste amazing for people. Well, apparently you've had plenty of oysters in your day.
They don't have much of a taste. I don't really know what the draw or attraction is, and I love them. I mean, I don't eat them all the time. I might eat them 4 or 5 times a year, you know. But I don't know what the draw or attraction is. I don't know.
That's one of those foods that even the name doesn't sound good. Oysters, you know. I mean, yogurt.
Hey, who was the first person to rip a head off of a crawfish or whatever they're called and suck the insides out?
Probably someone in Louisiana.
Yeah, those people are weird anyway.
Yeah, they got issues down there. Wow.
Enrique wrote. Enrique. Gennady Golovkin, triple G, GGG. Thank you, Enrique.
I don't know, Bill. Still, aphrodisiac. He says, I don't even know who came up with that either. I mean, Lou, when you eat oysters, do you suddenly find yourself more anxious to spend private time with Mrs. Lou?
No, I've never understood that either. So no.
I mean, for people like me, every food is an aphrodisiac.
Yeah. And I didn't grow up eating oysters either. Like, I thought they were just... The first time I ever ate oysters was on my bachelor party. We all... Where were we at? I think we were at Hooters, actually. And someone... I think it was one of my cousins ordered oysters.
They're expensive,
like,
I
gotta
presume,
try one.
right?
You gotta eat one. It depends where you go and where you get them. They're not that like around here. There's only a couple of places here in Augusta that have them, and there's never a price on the menu for oysters. It always says market price because you have to eat oysters when they're fresh, and so it just depends what the price goes up and down, I guess, based on the day or whatever. But generally around here, you can get a dozen oysters for less than $20. Sometimes they're $12.99. Sometimes they're $15.99. Sometimes they're $19.99. It just kind of depends. And it's not a lot of food. Even eating them with a cracker, so you're eating 12 saltine crackers and 12 oysters. That's not a meal. I mean, that's an appetizer. Usually when I get oysters and like a basket of French fries, and that's what I'll eat.
Somebody mentioned that they're salty. And that's what I just always kind of assume, since they come primarily out of the ocean, that they would be salty, but that's not true.
Sometimes they're salty, but not always. Sometimes I get them on the half shell usually, which means they're already shucked for you. They're already cracked open and all that. Sometimes when you buy them whole and you have to shuck them and all that yourself, and that's usually right, at the beach, and you're getting them like they literally were dug out of the dirt an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you'll crack those open and there'll be seawater in there, ocean water in there, But when you get them on the half shell, that's drained out already,
Okay.
So they're not all that. They're not.
Well,
that
I feel pretty comfortable and confident that I will complete the rest of my days on planet Earth without ever having tasted an oyster. I'm pretty confident about that.
Yeah. Some people eat them fried or like steamed, even on the grill.
How do you fry an oyster? It's like snot.
I don't know.
Fried snot doesn't sound appealing at all to me.
I don't know. I've never made them. Obviously, I've tried them, and the only way I'll eat one is just right off of a cracker with the with the hot sauce. And then, Slim Shady actually gives the guy's full name here. You ready for this? Gennady Gennadyevich Golovkin, or GGG. So now you know why they call him Triple G or GGG, because no one wants to go around saying, "Yeah, man, did you see that Gennadyevich Golovkin fight?" It sounds like a fight involving three people. Who won? Mm-hmm. Gennadyevich, or Golovkin? No.
I'm just impressed that you can say it.
There's zero chance I'm saying that right. None.
Yeah, but it sounds great. I mean, say his name 3 times fast without butchering it.
I'll give it a try.
I can do it.
Golovkin. Gennadyevich.
Triple G. There you go.
We'll just stick with Triple G. Senor Dog, thank you for the super chat this morning. He says, "Good morning and go Dogs, and my flu ain't played nobody." You got the flu? Well, should have got the flu shot. I do feel bad for you, though. Flu is no joke. But please, in the future, do not get the flu shot. It's a waste of time, money, effort,
if
resources,
you pay for it.
And
who pays for a flu shot anyway?
Generally speaking, your insurance company pays.
Oh, they definitely pay. Guarantee you.
Yeah. So, if you do get the flu shot, though, which, of course, is developed by GlaxoSmithKline, and you still happen to get the flu, don't worry. GlaxoSmithKline has a cure post-flu, so they get you coming and going.
So they have like a flu shot, and then once you get the flu shot.
They have the flu shot, Then they have Tamiflu, which you're supposed to take if you're exposed to the flu. Like if someone in your household gets the flu, you take that. What is it? Is it whatever it's called, Tamiflu, whatever it is? And if you start taking it within like 24 hours of being exposed to the flu, it's supposed to keep you from getting it. But if that doesn't work, then they have the actual cure. So they got you.
Tamiflu is also like an over-the-counter cough remedy, I think.
Bill says free at Publix, but I mean, clearly you know it's not free. You're just not paying for it, directly. You're paying for it through increased premium charges on your insurance, but you can't walk into Publix without health insurance and get a free flu shot. That's when you walk into Publix and the sign says free flu shots in the pharmacy. That's if you have insurance. So it's not really free. You're just not paying a copay for it. But please believe they're billing your insurance company without a problem, because they are. So and so technically you do pay for it through increased premiums, but no need to get into all that. But yep. What else were we supposed to talk about today? I don't even remember.
Well,
I literally just make things up, don't I? What did I make up for today?
What we eat is in the topics, but we kind of covered that, but not really. I don't know what you had in mind with the whole what we eat.
Well, I guess we'll wrap up with this topic. But here's my thing. People look at certain people, right, and they assume, based on a lot of times just the way they look, that person's healthy, that person's not healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm skinny. I weigh, I don't know what I weigh right now, probably around 165 or something, whatever. People say, "Oh man, I am unhealthy." I eat terrible. I don't eat breakfast. I eat way too much, like, just junk. Anyway, so the point is, I want to eat better, not to lose weight, not to gain muscle, none of that. It's just I'm 41 years old. Mm-hmm. I don't think, I go for my yearly physical or whatever, but other than that, I don't go to the doctor that much because I don't get sick. So I don't think I have high blood pressure or high cholesterol or anything like that, but it runs in my family. So I'm just like, I get up in the morning, I make a pot of coffee, I drink half of it. I don't eat, and then I don't eat breakfast because I'm like, I tell myself I'm not hungry. I probably am hungry. I just would rather drink coffee though. And I don't think that's healthy. I think I should be eating something, even if it's like a banana or an orange. Like, I'm not saying I should sit down and eat a giant bowl of Fruit Loops every morning, but the healthiest thing I probably eat in general over the long run is lunch. I eat a lot of sandwiches for lunch, and I don't think that's. I mean, I know there's going to be people who diet or are going to say, "Oh my God, he eats white bread and mayonnaise or something." But the point is, it's not like I'm eating McDonald's. You know what I mean? If I go inside and make a ham sandwich with a little bit of mayonnaise on it and a piece of lettuce and a piece of cheese, like, to me, if that was the worst thing I ate, I would be fine. So don't be. I'm not trying to hear from anybody who tells me mayonnaise is going to kill me. I don't care. But I do think I eat like too much fried stuff. I drink way too much soda. I want to try to cut that back too.
So you are a big soda drinker.
Oh man, I can't. It seems like I can't go without Coke.
So you are a Coke guy.
Yeah.
Good choice. How about your kids? Do you let your kids drink a lot of it, or
no?
Okay.
Now, it's something that we have to consciously do as parents, because I'm an adult. If I want to drink a glass of Coke, I'm going to drink a glass of Coke, and I'm not going to drink a 2 liter of Coke today. So they'll
Why not?
Like right now there's a 2-liter of Coke in there on the counter. So if we're not paying attention, the kids will go in there and they'll eat breakfast, and then 5 minutes later they're drinking a Coke, and then at lunchtime they're drinking a Coke, and then at dinner time, if we don't say anything, they'll drink a Coke. So we have to consciously, because I'm not just gonna not, I'm not gonna not have a Coke in the house because I don't want the kids to drink it. I think that's ridiculous. Like, if you don't want your kids to drink Coke, then be a parent and just tell them,
make that a rule.
Yeah, you can have a Coke a few times a week or something. You're not going to drink Coke every day. Drink juice, milk, water. So they probably eat better than I do. But I don't know. And then I feel like I don't have a lot of energy sometimes, and I feel like it's because I eat so bad.
Guarantee you.
And I don't exercise at all. I go through phases where, I need to.
Wait. What are you talking about? You don't. You are aware that YouTubing is one of the top 5 exercises on the American Health and Diet Journal's list.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I sit in this chair. The most exercise I get is walking out here, and that's sad. But I do this. I get these. I go through the God. I want to exercise. I want to start eating breakfast every day, even if it's just an apple or a banana or a piece of peanut butter toast or what I like. But and then I get up the next day and I do it, and then I get up the next day, and an hour later I'm sitting out here going, I forgot I didn't eat anything again. Like I can't ever do it long enough to make it a habit. It's sad. I almost have to write myself a note, eat breakfast, because I'm a creature of habit, BVD.
Yeah, we all are.
I have I have 4 notebooks out here right now, with all within arm's reach. I have to write everything down, or I just feel like I don't accomplish anything. And so it almost feels like I have to write down, and I have this one notebook I look at first thing when I come out here every morning. It's like there's different things, a list of video ideas, things I've got to do on email or whatever, Patreon, and I almost feel like I need to write on that. If you haven't eaten, go back in right now and eat before you do anything out here. And people say, you eat breakfast, it'll speed up your metabolism the rest of the day, gives you more energy for the rest. Because here's what I'm convinced this is what's happening with my energy level. I'm not eating anything in the morning. I'm drinking 3 cups of coffee, right? And I'm wired. And y'all have heard me say all the time, I'm at my best, the first 4 or 5 hours I'm up. And a lot of people aren't morning people. I am. I can wake up and then 10 minutes later be out here and I'm full go. But by 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's like I feel like I hit a wall. And I could have slept 8 hours, 5 hours, 9 hours. It's not a sleep issue.
I think that's called crashing.
Yeah, and that's what it is, I think. I'm drinking so much coffee, I'm amping myself up, but I'm not giving myself really any real nutrients or energy because I'm not eating anything. I'm just hopping myself up on coffee in the morning, and then I do get hungry around lunchtime, so I'll go I'll eat a sandwich or whatever, and then usually an hour after that, it's just I feel like I could just sink into the couch or the chair or whatever I'm doing and just not move the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And I think I think part of it is I don't eat breakfast. I think part of it is I think maybe if I exercise, people that exercise too, they say it gives you more. You think, how's that going to give you more energy? You'd be wore out, and I probably would be wore out the first month or so. But they say over time, exercising actually gives you more energy. I don't know. This isn't a New Year's resolution thing or anything like that. It's just I don't know. You're old like me. These people are 25 years old. I mean, I used to could eat an whole box of Oreos and lose a pound. And again, for me, this doesn't have anything to do with weight, and I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have. They look at a 500-pound man and say he's unhealthy, and they look at a 150-pound man and say, "Wow, he's healthy as a horse." And I'm here to tell you, I feel like I'm very unhealthy, and I want to do something. I want to change that, but it's just been hard for me to like I said, I'll go through this before, and I've even gone. I'll go to the store. I'll buy a bag of apples. I eat an apple every morning. I get up the next day. I eat my apple. This is going to be great. And then the next day, before I even really know what's happening, I'm sitting out here, and it'll be like 11 o'clock, and I'll go, God dang it, I didn't eat the apple, or whatever it is, an orange or a banana or whatever.
Breakfast is hard. It's a hard thing to do if you've never done it, and that's me. And my parents never really got up and cooked breakfast that I can remember a lot. And certainly when I moved out, I moved out of my house almost literally the day after I graduated high school. And I'm like you, I'm not a breakfast guy. I mean, I can eat breakfast, but I don't generally wake up hungry. And if I do, it's going to be something. I mean, look, here's a common misconception, Lou. People look at me and they just naturally assume, hey, that guy's fit as a fiddle, healthy as a horse. But that's so untrue. I'm not. And I attribute that clearly to my family genes. It's not got anything to do with the great healthy foods that I eat.
Yeah.
But seriously though, I mean, we're just alike in that department, man. It's been junk food city my whole life, and I'm here to tell you, I'm here to bear witness to you, young Mr. Lou. You're gonna feel that shit when you hit 50.
I'm sure.
Not sooner. If not sooner.
I'm sure. And you know what? And I don't snack. Like, so it's not like I'm munching on potato chips all day or anything like that. Most days, probably 5 days out of the week, all I eat is lunch and dinner. No snacks, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I'm, laying around scratching my nuts eating Cheetos all day long or anything like that. But what I eat is not very healthy. Now, part of that is like, but see, here's the thing. I'm about to say something. And it's just an excuse, because I'm not the only parent in the world with 2 kids who are busy. So this is 100% an excuse. But when my daughter has to be at dance from 4 o'clock to 7, and Lou Jr. has soccer practice from 5:30 to 7:30, it's just real easy to go, well, on the way home I'll run by McDonald's or whatever.
Yep.
It's just real easy to do that, and that is totally an excuse, and I get it. Because there are parents who've got 4 kids that find a way to eat better than I do, and
it's a habit, just like anything else,
right,
really, to be honest.
That's the biggest thing. And for me, like I said, getting back to that, I'm a creature of habit, and until I can find a way, or like just starting with the most simplest of things for me, breakfast, until I can find a way to force myself to do that for 10 days, 14 days, 30 days, whatever it is in a row, and to where it becomes a habit, I'm never going to break out of this. BVD, I get up, I'm making a pot of coffee before both my eyes are open. Like, I feel like I could wake up blindfolded, walk into the kitchen and make a pot of coffee, no problem. Like, I'm literally not even fully awake, and that's the first thing I do. I get out of bed, I'm straight to the kitchen, I'm making a pot of coffee.
Even in the summertime, you drink coffee in the summer? You're year-round coffee drinker?
Yeah, in the morning, yeah. Now, sometimes, rarely do I drink coffee other than the mornings during the summer. But like this time of year, so every once in a while, maybe once or twice a week, I'll have a cup of coffee in the evenings too. Usually on Tuesdays, if I feel myself after dinner, on a Tuesday or a Thursday, because I have those night shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays, if I eat dinner at 5 or 6 o'clock and it's like 6:30 or 7, and I'm like, oh God, the night show, I'll drink a cup of coffee to pep myself up. But I got to be careful, because I found this out too. I was talking to Miss Lou about this the other day. If I drink, I got to be careful with how much coffee I drink on those Tuesdays and Thursdays, because there's been nights where the show is ended, I've gone inside and laid down, and I've physically been tired. But I go to lay down, and when I close my eyes, it's like I can feel it's like my eyeballs won't stay still. Like I can feel my eyes fluttering, even though my eyes are closed. And it's because I either drank that cup of coffee too late, like maybe I drank the cup of coffee at 8:30 instead of 7, or maybe I drank 2 cups instead of 1, or so I got to stop doing that on Tuesdays and Thursdays too.
You ever considered like I was going to ask you what's your go-to coffee, like what's your coffee, but I only drink coffee really when it's cold, and here lately I've been drinking literally 2-3 pots a day, not big pots. I use the little 3-cup pot thing, and I drink either half calf or no caffeine. Right now I'm on a chock full of nuts binge when it comes to coffee. But you ever considered maybe cutting your caffeine intake in half, maybe to help that? Or I don't know.
Maybe that would, because here's the thing, and I don't know, this I'm not sure of. I do know when I wake up in the morning I want coffee. I don't know if it's because I want caffeine or I have just developed that habit of walking around with a coffee cup in my hand.
Probably a little bit of both, I would imagine.
Yeah, and it wouldn't hurt either way to try to cut back on some of that.
Try
caffeine.
Cutting caffeine out of your diet for like 2 days in a row and see what happens.
I will say this: people say you should drink a lot of water. During the summertime, I do. Now, that's one thing I do a good job. I drink a ton of water. Now, part of that is because I've been working out here for the last several years during the summertime, and it's hotter than Hades out here. So you have to drink water. But I'm pretty good. Like, even back when I used to drink BVD, like we would go play golf or something like that, right? During the summer, 100 degrees, people riding around in a golf cart and they'll drink a beer. I could never do that. How people can sit in the heat and drink a beer, back even when and I loved beer, but how people could sit in the heat and drink a beer, and I guess that's probably why you don't drink coffee in the summertime, same sort of thing. But
yeah, probably.
Now, once the sun went down,
plenty
of beer for me. But I don't know, these people that play golf or do yard work and drink. I'm like, how? No, just give me a big glass of ice water.
Yeah, I love some ice water in the summer.
Anyway,
you can drink too much water also, I've heard.
Somebody said there's such thing as water poisoning.
That almost sounds stupid, doesn't it?
Drink too much water and internally drown yourself or something. I don't know. I've heard that before, though.
I'm gonna have to look that up after the show.
Any of y'all in the comment section ever heard of that? Water poisoning?
I've never. This is the first time I've ever heard the term water poisoning, but I've definitely heard, you can drink too much water.
Somebody said, water poisoning is actually a thing. You can consume too much water. You can drown yourself. It's happened to athletes. They've died, somebody says. So, yeah, it's true. They say too much of anything is a bad thing, BVD. Except for the morning show with Uncle Lou and BVD. You could never get too much of that. Unfortunately, we do have to kind of wrap up today's version. BVD, I'll let you go first. Any final thoughts, whatever you want to talk about with the weekend, Super Bowl, football, whatever. Tell them where they can find you, all that kind of stuff.
First thing, straight out of the gate, thanks to everybody that gave us super chats this morning. I know you're going to say that too, Uncle Lou, but thanks. We definitely appreciate that because money is a hard thing to come by, and for anybody to willingly give up some of theirs to us is a great source of gratefulness for myself. I've got the typical Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Twitter's at the Big Ball Daddy. Not a big Twitter guy yet, but I'm working on that. You can find me on YouTube, and I live stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evening at 8 o'clock, Sundays at 8:30, and then, of course, right here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 8 o'clock on Lou's Morning Show. And I had a good weekend. Looking forward to hopefully having some kind of a good week, and looking forward to the Super Bowl. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. Yeah, we appreciate y'all tuning in this morning. Everybody in the comment section, We had almost 200 watching at one point. I think there's about 150 in here now. But we really appreciate all you guys tuning in. It's a holiday for a lot of y'all today. Some of you still woke up early to tune into the show, and we really, really appreciate that. Bama Boy, Tim Mathis, Daniel Moore, Dennis Wilson, Ugga Boy, Ashley Snell. You remember Ugga Boy BVD? He used to make videos, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's
yeah.
in here now.
Yeah.
He's in here now, and he even comes to my shows.
Yeah.
Here
Jason
lately,
Sturkey,
so.
Good morning, sir. Bill, Rob W., good morning, sir. Snake Spencer, Oh Hi Mark, good morning, sir. No QB, Richard Holton. A lot of Go Chiefs in the comment section, too. The Glitter Gator is here. Celine Driver, good morning, sir. Slim Shady Canes. Appreciate all you guys tuning in this morning. Savage Dog. Light BVD said the super chats. Really appreciate that, too. We never expect any super chats, and clearly, whether you give the super chats or not, we're appreciative for everyone that views. But the super chats do keep these live shows going, so those do mean a lot. All of you know I do YouTube full time, so it especially means a lot to me. And because I do YouTube full time, I would not ask or expect BVD to come on here with me every single day like he does, just because. So I've told you this before, I'll tell you again, but the super chats are split amongst me and BVD during these morning shows, so we really appreciate you guys that enjoy the show and are in a position to give through the super chat feature. It really means a lot. So Savage Dog, thank you, sir. Waikiki, thank you. Darren McCardle, Celine Driver, Chess Hall, Enrique Robles, thank you, sir. Really appreciate
Melissa.
it. Slim Shady Canes, thank you. Georgia on my mind. Enrique Robles again. Slim Shady Canes, Senor Dog. And Savage Dog says, one for the road. Thank you, sir. I really
Thank you, Savage.
I really appreciate that. So, yeah, again, everybody that tuned in, it really means a lot. I am doing the Uncle Lou Superlative Awards this week, and this time I mean it. I think my plan was to do it last week, but I really mean it this time. I am doing the Uncle Lou Awards this week. So that's been pretty popular the last couple of years when I've done it. So things like most embarrassing loss, worst coach, best story of the year, funniest thing I saw this year, things like that. So be looking for that this week. And of course, my live show schedule is normal for this week. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, me and BVD will be here to regale you with tales from middle-aged white men. And then Tuesday and Thursday night at 10 p.m., Uncle Lou After Dark, the college football call-in show. So I know a lot of you watch both those live shows, and I really appreciate it. All right, yep, Chiefs win and 49ers win, so the Super Bowl is set. Chiefs versus 49ers. Got a couple of weeks to talk about that, I guess. BVD, when's the Pro Bowl? Is the Pro Bowl this weekend or after the Super Bowl?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. Historically, I thought it's always been after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But they've changed things up so much.
Yeah.
Wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to play it before the Super Bowl, but maybe they do.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things the NFL does doesn't make a whole lot of sense sometimes. But anyway, ramble, yada, yada, yada. Extend the show out a little bit more. The Shrine Bowl was this weekend too, BVD, but no one watched it, so we didn't talk about it. But
we didn't talk about the basketball games that were played this weekend either, and I purposely didn't mention that for your sake.
Well, Georgia got blown out by Miss. I obviously I'm more of a football guy, but people will ask me about certain teams, and I'll say, that team, they're talented, but they're not used to winning. So that's why you'll see a team like. I can't think of an example, but you'll see a team that's pretty talented, and maybe they'll win a big game or two, but then they lose to, you're like, how'd they lose that game? That's Georgia basketball right now. They've got the talent to where when they play well, they can beat a lot of people. I mean, they've got a top 10 win. They played Kentucky pretty close.
They kicked the shit out of Tennessee.
Beat Tennessee, but then
the most amazing thing this weekend, Lou, and I can't believe I forgot this, was the Tennessee Vanderbilt game. Vanderbilt in 1,080 games had made at least one 3-pointer in every single game since the inception of the 3-point line. And they did not make a single 3-pointer out of 25 attempts this Saturday. They did make one with like a minute and a half to go in the game, but it was like right after the shot clock expired, so they wiped it off the board.
Yeah, y'all killed Vandy, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I mean,
we got humiliated by Mississippi State. So I mean, that's the thing. We can beat a top 10 Memphis team. We can beat Tennessee. We can play Kentucky close, But then we play Mississippi State and lose by 40, and that's just a sign of inconsistency. A young, talented team that's just not used to winning.
A team that loses by 30 plus in big time college basketball. That's a team that just that particular day quit.
Yeah,
I mean.
AC Ugga Boy says, I hate to say it, but UGA sucks in men's basketball. Clearly someone who hasn't paid any attention at all to UGA basketball this year, because they clearly don't suck this year. And in my opinion, not only is UGA a tournament team, I think they're a borderline top 30 or 35 team. I don't know if they'll crack the top 25. They'd have to go on a run, but UGA is a pretty good team this year. I think they'll make the tournament. You might want to check them out every once in a while, Ugga Boy. But anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in. That's going to be it for the show today. Me and BVD will be back here Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. to bore you to death once again. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a great morning.
See ya.
How can